Hello, everyone. My name is Francis Sheehan. I'm the co-artistic director of Abnormal Productions, and I am the director of the world premiere of Dr. Dominick Grundy's That Slippery Slope. This is a story of love and duty and the gray area where those two things cross over. We hope that you enjoy it as much as we have enjoyed putting it on. And now, without further ado, the cast of That Slippery Slope.
Where are you? Oh, yes, there you are. I can't see the top of your head.
Good afternoon, Ms. Z.
It's not afternoon here, it's morning.
Oh, I hadn't realized we were so far apart.
Far apart. Psychoanalysis is what I asked them for. But I understand there are not many psychoanalysts today. They had to scour the East Coast. I am not looking for the easy way. If there are no obstacles, it's not worth attempting, right? I want the real thing, stronger than me.
I see.
I can see the bus behind you. Old man Freud, right? Good choice. Hi, Sigmund. I can't see your couch, though. Should I lie back like this?
We won't be needing that. And psychoanalysis today is a unique relationship between two real people, which we both are. I want you to feel I'm as transparent to you as you are to me, not some disembodied voice from a galaxy far away.
I read that the unexamined life is not worth living. I'm living it to the hilt. But I'd rather not have you in my face as I examine it. I mean, why should I worry about both of us?
Why would you worry about me?
I want to understand myself without being steered by someone else. I give in to people too easily as it is. I don't want to have to think about your sexual orientation or help you with Zoom problems.
No. Ignore me if you like. But actually, you can't. That was one of his problems. His last patient, a certain Joseph Wardis, said that when told to free associate, he could only think of topics of interest to him. He was told he was not behaving scientifically. We don't behave scientifically in psychoanalysis, Ms. Z, or in life. And that's the point.
You are talking way too much already. An affair. I'm having an affair. Hate that word. He's married, of course.
Of course.
Sex with someone available for anything else sounds like a losing game, right? Oh, that's what you thought, knowing you.
Knowing me.
It's like weather in Iceland. The fact that it's usually raining and improves the rare sunbeam experience. Doesn't lead to satisfaction so much as desire all over again for the real thing. I use these cliches because I'm talking to someone like you. Cliches float into my head, put it there by another's presence. I want to discover my own monologue, or else honest silence.
Please tell me more about this honest silence.
I was going to before you chimed in yet again. What is this? A soiree with finger food? I mean, I don't think he approves of this oh so supportive butterwood and melt my mouth ambiance. I want to shock myself.
Sorry, at this stage, you'll have to make do with shocking me.
There you go again. Shocking you? Who cares about you? I want to see what I do and be horrified. I only feel it later, post-orgasm. His, that is. I can't explain it at the moment. Sometimes I wait outside his building and watch her leave. I like to see what kind of mood she's in. Has he been nice to her? Does she have her period? Is there a big meeting coming up at work? Have they discussed what to do with their investments, or whether to have a child or a puppy? Or had sex? I think they should have sex, don't you agree? I do want to feel he's a good enough husband to her. Married sex. Not the real thing. Or is that in the end the real thing? This is something I'm working on right now. I undress in the elevator. I start at the top and see how far I can get down by the penthouse. I want the shock. I'd like to say that I want the darkness of it, except you wouldn't understand that.
In the elevator? No, I see. You've you've explained it very well. So why do you think I wouldn't understand darkness? It merely refers to what we don't know yet.
It refers to me and what I'm doing. For me, you're still an obstacle. I don't even know why you're here. Maybe you could switch off your camera and I could talk to that blank screen of the old psychoanalytic days.
Doesn't work that way any longer, Ms. Z, sorry to say. We're on each other's screens for keeps. You're on in my office, and I am afraid we are out of time.
I'm not in your office, and what time is it where you are?
You were late.
All I did was feed Elma. She's fussy in the morning. By the way, that's the first definite thing you've said. You were late. Not bad for a beginner.
Beginner? I have a PhD and a certificate, thank you very much.
Close, but no cigar.
Well, goodbye till next time. Oh, yes. Do stay well.
Ja. Willkommen all to Workshop 3 Workshop 314A. Our topic today is love and psychotherapy. May a therapist and patient feel love for each other? And if so, how can it be expressed within the boundaries of the work? This is an old problem, so we're going to reach back to the very foundations of our treatment. As in the Hippocratic Oath from ancient Greece, that should ring a bell. Recall other Greek contributions. Remember Oedipus, Narcissus, Eros. Everyone's had a fling with Eros. From our earliest days, love was a problem. First, the therapy was supposed to arouse love, and the patient felt this. Without love, no cure. Then the love had to be renounced because it was just transference, but the therapist who aroused it was not supposed to feel love because that would be countertransference. Talk about an impossible relationship. For our founder, Sigmund Freud, it became a headache. I'm thinking of ill-starred couples like Carl Jung and Sabina Spielrein, Sandor Ferenczi and Elma Palos, a host of others. I wonder if any of you felt that way. Did you ever love-hate your therapist? Was your heart broken? We're going to want to talk about this, one of the secrets of our profession. And later in the program, we are expecting our audience to share. For this workshop, we have, as a case example, Ms. Z and Dr. P. We'll be following them through their work together. Dr. P is a trained psychoanalyst of the non-classical school. Thoughtful, well-intentioned, perhaps not that experienced. Ms. Z is a bright young woman in her 30s, struggling with various issues in the unexamined life, including explorations in what I call promiscuity. To help us, we have very experienced panelists from Olympus, a psychoanalytic institute outside space and time. Let me introduce them. First, Dr. Aphrodite. Dr. Aphrodite was born through a power struggle in which her grandfather was castrated. She grew up in Italy, where she became Venus. We've all admired her in paintings in museums and Renaissance palaces. I wrote a paper in college on Botticelli's Birth of Venus aquaplaning on a shell. Even today, I remember that hair with waves like the sea. Dr. Aphrodite.
Yes, in those days men painted naked women in luxurious settings for private collections. They often named them Venus to avoid the censor, and satyred her with Cupid, that pot-bellied juvenile delinquent with the arrows. When Rubens saw a naked woman, especially that 16-year-old Helene Formand, whom he married at age 53, his eyes bugged out of his head. Rolls of flesh like croissants with extra butter. That said, I take the position that creativity and life itself cannot exist without passion, and that efforts to repress it are futile and even harmful.
Ah. And on the other side is Dr. Athena. I believe, like your sister, you came into this world without a mother. I read that your father Zeus experienced pregnancy in his head. Dr. Hermes operated and out you came.
Yes, that's one story. I've heard other versions, but our mythology is overdetermined. You better ask Dad. That is, if he's still giving interviews. One story I heard was that he got some lady pregnant, and to avoid problems with his wife, he swallowed her.
Fascinating. Fascinating that you goddesses both had fathers, but no mothers. I wonder how that influenced you considering our topic today.
My grandfather's seed was spilled across the waters. One made it to shore and became me. So in a way, Zeus was really my brother. But I grew up calling him Mom. Last I heard, Mom wanted to make Olympus great again.
Well, in this event, I adopt the unglamorous position of representing reality. Reality has no gods and few fans. In the long run, erotic fancy is transient. Alter the circumstances, wailing infants, mortgages, saggy butt, COVID-19, and where is it? No, I already see a slippery slope ahead for our therapy couple. How about you, sister?
Psychotherapy has some nice obstacles. Rules and restraints may intensify erotic pursuit. Apparently your patients fall in love with you.
That's called transference. We believe passionate transference repeats desires in childhood.
Transference. Another of those jumped up Latin words. What happens if it's the other way around and you fall for them? It could be dangerous.
For the therapist, we have training and supervision. We believe in a professional love that observes its bounds.
What if your training and supervision are not strong enough? Should we put them to the test?
How would we do that?
Leave that to me. L'amour, 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 l'amour.
Patient expects old-style psychoanalysis to cure her sexual acting out. Does she want to just go through the motions or get involved in either a therapy relationship or a sexual relationship? We're starting at the top of the mind and hopefully getting down to the core as we ride up the elevator together. Last week, she compared me to Freud, called me a beginner. Hated that. But I should not have gotten angry. Must be more careful. Should I apologize? Personal disclosure? No, I don't think so. Not at this stage. She tells me I'm in the way. She looks over at the bust behind me. I'm a little humiliated, but I like the adventure. Miss Z, Freud, and me. How will we three get along together? Find out tonight our exciting menage a trois at 8. You were late. Again.
I have
have something to tell you. I thought she had left, but no, she was late. I was in his building downstairs waiting for the elevator. The door opened and there she was, looking furious. She knew it was me. Let me guess, she said, glaring as she pressed penthouse. Then she slapped me. She wasn't social distancing. He's waiting for you. He's in the shower singing that Toreador song from Carmen, which he sings before sex. She was holding the elevator door. Do you want me to leave? I asked. She said, you don't look as stupid as the last one. There's something about you, a je ne sais quoi. It's not flattering when your husband lusts for a bimbo. Do you think he's going to dump me and marry you? I said, I don't want to get married. Someone above was banging on the elevator door, so she left. When I got upstairs, the housekeeper let me in and I sat down. I told him I wasn't in the mood because I had to collect my thoughts. Oh, he said, what thoughts? I met her downstairs. I hope you didn't talk to her. We talked. Apparently, I have a je ne sais quoi. Did you ever notice? She said that. She is perceptive. Here's the thing. You know when people look at you for just a second, even behind a mask, they see something they think is your soul and make a judgment. You can't control it. I don't know what she saw, but I was flattered. She who screws her husband is to the wife an eternal bimbo, a wastebasket category, you might say. But I'm a bimbo with a je ne sais quoi.
Indeed, Ms. Z. But what happened when she struck you?
It acknowledges your existence like nothing else. Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you. I wonder if he cared that we had met. There's a risk, because he wants me there before the limo to take him to the office at 10. I like the risk, but he believes in punctuality, just like you. She generally leaves at 8:30, and when it's my day, I come in just after. Did he delay her on purpose? Maybe he's getting rid of me, but I prefer to make termination decisions myself.
Could you perhaps have asked him? I mean, in your encounters, is there time for discussion?
I like to work these things out for myself. I told you that. Anyway, people lie. Desires of the heart as crooked as corkscrews. Something I read once.
True. But do you want a more committed relationship? Perhaps at some future point.
Marriage? What a suggestion. I'm way too involved to consider marriage, so speaking for both of us, no. Marriage is the solution you might prefer.
I meant emotional intimacy in a sexual union with another. No, with him or someone else. Look, I'm not judging, but the body is only the surface.
Are you, Mother Superior?
Really? Look, do you see him any other times? Or places?
You mean the elevator?
Yeah, only between 8:30 and 10 in the morning, right?
Right. Excluding weekends and federal holidays, of course.
Oh, of course.
Being sarcastic, are we? You want me to move in? Talking like this is giving me a menage a trois feeling.
Oh, no.
I thought I'd be able to lie back and get to the heart of what I'm doing without thinking about you. But now, you're feeding me opinions on how and where we should have sex. I think you're telling me to see him more often to reassure you. You're hovering over the bed. Although we don't use a bed that much. To save time and reduce risk of the virus, he often bends me over the end of the couch. I see you're shocked, but I'm not. That's the wrong way round.
You said to save time. Do you want more than an hour for a fixed number of days a week on his couch?
An hour for a fixed number of days a week on the couch. Does that remind you of anything? Psychoanalysis?
We don't have to talk with you lying down, Izzy. Psychoanalysis doesn't have to be on the couch like in the New Yorker cartoons. Neither does sex, for that matter. But why would you make that association, I wonder?
You as good as made it. Anyway, that way I feel like I'm in a real office with a real psychoanalyst.
You know what? We should talk more about this, but time's nearly up, so.
In psychoanalysis, you're supposed to be free of these social conventions, and you shouldn't get second-rate marital counseling. Know what I would do if I were in a real office with a real psychoanalyst right now? Just as I was leaving and you were going back to your desk, I would flash Freud.
Why on earth would you do that?
Oh, to reassure him, of course. Look, no penis.
That old stuff? Really? She thinks she is. Patient clearly is disturbed by what she's doing, but likes the erotic adventure. Must think more about the role of the couch. She is penetrated there to save time, yet wants the couch in psychoanalysis. And she associated to a menage a trois. What does this mean? Was I suggesting she stop seeing her current lover? Well, if so, that was wrong. I mean, I admit I want her to stop seeing him, or at least stop enjoying it. Am I allowed to want things for her? It's her life, and I should accept that. But in one sense, it's our life too. If she continues on this course, does it mean I'm a professional failure? When patients don't progress, what does that make us? What am I doing wrong? She bends over the end of his couch. Why? Save time because she's always late? Oh my God. What am I imagining?
Love is already in the room, or as it must be today, on our screens. So the first part of the impossible relationship has occurred. They are getting under each other's skin, and he is despairing of his ability to cure her. That's a very good sign in my book. She's going to throw in his face all that is missing in his rigid life. She may even cure him.
Sister, I accuse you of blatant seduction. You are arming her with the best methods for appealing to male fantasy. While he allows a more open democratic paradigm, she lets him know she respects only the patriarchal ways of an earlier generation. That is unnerving to an honest man who lacks confidence. She's also proclaiming how other men desire her in a way he can hardly ignore, although he's trying. He wants her to stop throwing herself away as he sees it. He is a compassionate person with the fatal idea that women need rescue. This is an asymmetrical relationship in which she already holds most of the cards. It's a game of erotic chess when only one player can see the board.
Erotic chess. I don't follow. I thought he was doing pretty well.
In the old days days when Mom threw thunderbolts, the man was often the hunter and the woman the prey. If she was lucky, one of us changed her into a tree or babbling brook at the last moment. But these are different times.
I suppose we could turn him into a constellation or a space satellite. But seriously, what may be about to happen is a crime.
Dear sister, virgin goddess, you've never been in love.
Thanks for squeezing me in. So I've been seeing this patient. This patient has been seeing me for 3 months. And I'm still not sure where we're going. I mean, she has these affairs with men who treat her badly, married men. She has a massive crush on classical psychoanalysis, and she uses it to put me in my place. Says I'm not the real thing. What is the real thing?
You don't know the real thing, although you may believe in it.
What? Okay, well, I become immobilized with her, predictable and boring. I never say anything interesting to her or me. Like the average parent, I seem to just want her to get married and settle down. I mean, until she appeared that day on my office screen, I didn't know I was so dumb. Says she wants to understand herself, but doesn't want my help. Makes me feel in the way. So, I mean, is this countertransference or just the basic dullness of me? Would someone else know better what to say or what not to say, as the case may be? You're not taking any notes.
I don't need notes. No, perhaps you're under the influences of forces greater than you realize? Is she seductive?
Well, I mean, she does go into detail about sexual events and couches, but there aren't any erotic disclosures. I don't think she wants to change.
What does she want?
Hey, awesome question from someone like you. I'm glad you asked. I have even tried suggesting she isn't interested in our work together. Maybe she just wants to shock me. And she's succeeding, because when I am with her, my mind goes blank. I say things I don't mean. It's a three-way relationship with Miss Z and Freud calling the shots. I'm the cuckold.
Freud?
And she's interested in his bust behind me in the office. Says she wishes she could flash him.
You have a bust of Freud? Isn't that a little bit dated? Well, not that I don't favor the classics, so.
No, it was left by a previous analyst. I took it out to the garbage chute. I looked at him. He looked back at me. Couldn't do it. I don't have the steel to be a relational analyst.
She is under the protection of my sister, Aphrodite. This might explain some of your problems.
Dr. Aphrodite? I've heard of her. She presented at one of our conferences.
Now I'll leave you with a few thunderbolts. First, Miss Z is very interested in working with you.
She is.
Your opinion means a lot to her.
Since when?
And the man she's most interested in seducing is you.
Which institute did you train at again?
You should know all of this. This is why you must be careful, or you'll end up like those people who only think of something they already knew when it's too late. No, your career is on the brink. That's all I'm able to tell you now. Time's up.
Time. Congratulations. On time.
That is such a needy remark.
Oh,
Patients are allowed to be late or fall asleep or adjust their clothes, as long as they don't linger past their time. It's in the parameters. You should know this.
see, here I was naively hoping you were getting something from our work together and thinking maybe I'll be punctual and get the full benefit of my session.
Oh, you are were such a mom. Always wanting the best for your little girl and making sure she's dressed and ready for the school bus.
How old were you when you took the school bus?
About 7. We had a cat that saw me off in the morning and then met the bus in the afternoon. Ferdinand. Rare cat behavior, if you ask me.
So what happened on the bus?
We had 2 drivers. One was a woman with straggly hair and a red face who was kind. She waited if you were late. The other was a man with a beard who didn't like kids. We would all try and change seats without his noticing. When we got to school, everyone had to be in a seat different from where they began. Easy if you swapped with someone nearby, but if you were the last one, you had to crawl up front to the only seat left. Often he saw you and yelled. He watched us in the mirror so much that he went through a railroad crossing and didn't stop. Someone saw it, and even though there were no daytime trains, he got fired. Teacher said it was our fault because he had to keep checking on us.
Were you the last one?
Sometimes. It's easy to look back at childhood and say, what fun, such innocence. But why do we make each other change seats? Just because it was illegal? Because at that age, it was the only risk that was safe? I liked the bus. I liked being between 2 places, home and school. I liked the vibration of the engine. I made up stories about what I saw through the window. In fact, I would have liked a longer trip. Maybe one day never arriving. Except I wouldn't want Ferdinand to wait for the bus and be lonely. He was such a faithful friend.
So what do we need to see about this?
What do you mean, see?
Oh, there's something here. You on the bus, not wanting to arrive at either destination, school or home, but not wanting to disappoint your friend Ferdinand, betwixt and between. Are you betwixt and between today?
My destination today is the bathroom.
Really? Why is...
I may be pregnant.
Well, I know better than to ask about the father.
Good work.
Should we talk about what you're going to do?
No.
Well, what are you going to do?
I don't know. But I expect you're going to tell me.
I shan't tell you anything.
We may have to change our session time.
You're already in one of my low-fee hours.
I thought I was missing something here. I'm getting cheaper observations. Which half of your brain takes a nap during a low fee hour?
It's the same brain. Honestly, I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. Famous analysts have low fee and high fee hours. They mention it in their publications. I charge what I think people can pay. It's not a publishable strategy. So I probably got annoyed you got pregnant because I think it's going to interrupt our work. In fact, I would say
I
that
know
this
what you're
occurred.
going to say.
Am I right?
I don't know if I do things on purpose till after I've done them. Even then, it's sketchy. It's half on purpose and half not. We can split things down the middle and call it the unconscious if you like. When you're in my state of bewilderment, you're at the mercy of clever interpretations. I mean, how do you let a foreign object like an interpretation into your system without throwing up? Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't know there was anything left. What were you writing?
I was writing about offering interpretations to people who vomit.
I hate that word offer. Interpretations aren't offered as in, would you like a mint? They are either launched as rampant sound waves or stillborn. There's nothing in between, like saying, no thanks so goddamn much to that goddamn mint. You can't hand an interpretation back.
Yeah, it's a problem in the field, much discussed. Ideally, we don't launch the rampant sound wave, but snake it into someone's mental environment. Well, we want it to take root as an idea of their own.
Why am I thinking of a sperm sneaking their way upstream while a girl rests comfortably after a night out?
A low-fee question.
I think I better end our session. I'm feeling not right. I don't even feel like flashing him.
Aw, why not?
He just looks. I want someone who sees.
Oh. Okay. Okay. At least one good thing. He is out of the picture. And good riddance. He can take his couch and his cigar with him. This news about pregnancy is not so good. I do feel responsible. But why should I? Is it my fault she let herself go like this? It is? Is it? Have I done a better job? And why is everything I do with this patient so lame? Couldn't I just assume a background stance of friendly attentiveness like a butler? But duh, she's so vomitingly pregnant. Okay, well. My mother was good enough. I was a good enough baby. Good enough college education. Good enough training. I was a good enough psychoanalyst till she showed up. And why did I say that thing about low-fee hours? Damn it. If you're obsessed with your patient, if you can't get her out of your mind, she should pay double. That's why. Ms. Z, please go away. I think I'll expose myself to her. Yeah. Yeah. Let her report me to the Institute. But no. She would laugh. And she'd say, ha ha ha, fair play. You nearly saw me expose myself to Freud. Second definite thing you've done. You're coming along nicely. You know what, Ms. Z? Just go torture someone else. Two weeks now. Where have you been? I was worried, professionally speaking.
Thinking things over. And I'm rock solid pregnant. That's where, when it's time for our session, I get nauseous. Nothing personal.
You know, there's the phone, there's email.
Oh, were you thinking of slotting someone else into your low fee hour? I'm still seeing you, whether I appear on your screen or not. Your prerogative is to accept me or dismiss me. Serenely Olympian. I want someone I can believe in. I hope that's not asking too much.
Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about the intersubjective third, reflecting on the field.
The field? The intersubjective third? You know, reading professional literature won't help you unless you have the training, which you do not.
I want to understand what you understand. I want our relationship to thrive. I want to get under your skin and stay there.
Relationship? Skin?
Yes. Remember our first meeting? You said it's a unique relationship between two real people, which we both are.
Yeah, I didn't mean unique relationship that way.
I remember when you said that you were not a disembodied voice in a galaxy far away. I loved that. It made it okay to insult you without worrying.
Great. What about that stuff about couches?
Well, maybe I exaggerated a little bit. I wanted your attention.
You mean you lied?
Don't sound so disappointed. When I'm with you, I like to hang out my promiscuity shingle. It's fun. But maybe other reasons we have yet to discover.
More fun than the real thing? Look, I will admit, I entertained a few sexual fantasies. I never put myself in them, of course. I just thought they would help me understand you better.
It's confusing. Looking back, I'm not sure if the real thing was the sexual stuff I did or shocking you with it. I was taking a kind of selfie, watching you, watching me.
You don't shock me anymore, unfortunately.
But we were speaking of thirds. Another third is this baby. We have company. Would you like to say something to him?
You're a mother. Or soon to be, I mean. What about the father?
You sort of asked me that before. I think it's going to be psychoanalysis.
Virgin birth?
Virgin?
You know what? We should not be having this conversation, okay? I'm sorry. I'm upset that I said that.
I was upset too when the angel of first response flew in with the Annunciation. But not having a clue about the biological father meant I was free to choose someone I could believe in. I thought about it a lot. I choose you.
Are you crazy? I mean, whoa. What I mean, I don't even know what I mean. We should discuss this in detail.
It's a boy, by the way, I just know. You'd be the perfect father for little Siggy. Sigismund sounds way too foreign, but maybe Sig to his friends on the softball team.
You don't mean him. You can't.
I can. I do. It's unanimous.
You're naming your child for Sigmund Freud, or the great-great-grandson of Sigmund Freud? And you're torturing me because I should know how to bring you back to reality, but I don't. You've never had sex with me. We're in different states of the union, or hadn't you even noticed? And Sigmund Freud is not your baby. He's a bust here in my office, and you don't even have the goddamn decency to want to flash him anymore. You dumped him like all the others.
We've had sex, actually, in my imagination. You loved it. It was okay for me too, considering it was the first time. I'm never at my best then. And yelling like that won't cure me of anything. I may not be able to choose the father, but I can reach out and choose the husband. I swear I'm never going to dump you if you only give me the chance. I never want to stop seeing you, even if I don't get cured.
Look, I'm sorry I yelled. I rather think I need supervision.
We all do. Finding someone who knows anything these days is not easy. We make do with the hints life gives us.
Look, to preserve whatever shreds remain of our professional relationship, I need to end this session early. I'm sorry. I hope you understand.
I'm sorry if I upset you. Please don't be angry. Don't leave, please. I know. He's gone.
Her baby is Freud's, and she claims the therapist as her husband. I know she isn't the first patient to have these delusions. In her mind, we are indeed a screwed up blended family, but the problem is in my mind too. It's like a play in which you watch yourself stepping into an assigned role in spite of yourself. In my professional perspective, what she wanted was for therapist and patient to start a new life inside her symbolically. But a baby is a baby, not a symbol. Let's not forget Freud hovering over the bed. A perfect menage a trois. That was my professional perspective, but I've lost my professional perspective. I've lost my boundaries. I'm someone else. Her delusions are now mine too. And sex in her imagination. Well, now I wonder what we did. The couch again? Did she take her clothes off? Did she have an orgasm? Well, great. Great. Did I? Should goddamn well hope so. Maybe more than one. Bring that on. So who is the real patient here? It's obviously me. I'm lost. Aphrodite, I'm holding you personally responsible. I'm most of the way down your slippery slope. Aphrodite!
In the Rig Veda, from the 15th century BC, it says, "In the beginning rose desire, desire the primal seed and germ of spirit."
Thank you, Siri. That was super helpful. Appreciate that. Such a long journey. On the spur of the moment, I bought a one-way plane ticket. At the other end, I texted Lyft and Uber. Neither of them showed up. Can you believe that? No taxis either. got an airport shuttle, which was most of the way there when it broke down. We all fanned out, looked for taxis, nada. I found a BART station, but passengers were pouring out. They were disinfecting the station and the platforms. I ended up getting a lift and walking the rest of the way.
I know.
You know, it's not every day you have no taxis at the airport, a broken down bus, no trains. It's almost as if something was telling me.
I did warn you.
When I got to her neighborhood, there was a demonstration I had never heard about. Police wouldn't let me cross the street. It was like a dream.
I know.
You keep saying that.
I do. I'm familiar with my sister's ways.
Well, eventually, I reached her building and pressed the buzzer to the apartment several times. It had stopped working.
Yes, that was me.
Shocker. I just stood there, not knowing whether to leave or stay. I couldn't decide one way or the other, betwixt and between. And then, a tall woman glided in, and the door just opened.
So sad.
What?
Sad that love overrules common sense so easily. I warned you. The man she's most interested in seducing is you. By entering her home, you trashed a promising career.
Seduce me? I'm a free man.
Free? Who's free?
I didn't lust for her. Well, at least not until recently.
Yeah, lust is excusable. But you think you're in love. Slippery slope all the way to the bottom. How could you be so stupid for a seductress?
Ha! Ha! I love a seductress. Love, love, love. A slut. I adore a slutty slut. But I no longer understand that way of seeing her. Apparently, Athena, I have developed another perspective.
Oh.
There is the thrill. I want the darkness of it. I read that somewhere.
Yeah, well, stop fooling yourself. Okay, I've been looking into the protocols. To rescue your professional status, you both have to receive counseling elsewhere, maintain separate addresses, and keep your hands off each other.
Oh, too late.
After waiting 2 years, you can marry if you really insist. Now, you need to write a statement for the committee explaining why you terminated her so suddenly. You wouldn't believe how many committees Olympus has. This could take years. By that time, you'll have returned to your senses and dumped her.
You mean write a letter saying we're in love but didn't have sex till after sessions had ended? And I got ready to move in and play father when she announced she was having Freud's baby?
Close, but no cigar. You need some big language. For instance, postmodern epistemology requires a total reconceptualization of dialects situated within human development. In particular, phallocentric theorizing has tainted receptivity to alternate forms of polyalbant interrelationality due to its retrograde binarial axis. Things like that add something about the concept of a boundary violation as invoking a fictionalized social entity, the autonomous individual, and the prescribed but desired right of the Judeo-Christian fathers to subordinated bodies. I'll be there to fuzz things up and see it through, and you'll have to continue in supervision with someone else.
I can't remember all that verbiage. I don't even want to. Look, maybe love is just an illusion of happiness. But is there a better one? When I'm with her, I'm both of us. We have arguments and I take her side as well as mine. She takes mine too. So supervise that.
Now, my sister, Aphrodite, calls it love, but I call it a mistake. But our time's up for today. Goodbye. We won't meet again.
Dr. Aphrodite, thank you for a fascinating case presentation illustrating the slippery slope. I know you disguised them for the sake of confidentiality, but the patient and the psychoanalyst came across to me as quite real. I think our audience would love to discuss the issues raised by your presentation. To get us started, I'm going to summarize a few that came to mind. First, gender issues. From the title, I had expected a male therapist taking advantage of the transference of a female patient, but no, you made her the leader in their erotic dance. Second, counter-transference issues. Would you call Dr. P's acceptance of her quote-unquote love for him as reality? Or just counter-transference? And another counter-transference issue that came to mind was rescue. To rescue a female patient from sex with the wrong man, a male therapist breaks the frame and becomes her lover. It has happened. The material of the bust brought to mind the fraught relationship between Ferenzi, his mistress, and her daughter. The daughter entered analysis with Ferenzi, who fell in love with her, so he sent her to Freud to continue her treatment, and using his authority, Freud persuaded Ferenzi that the erotic countertransference was not real love and told him to marry the mother. Which he did. But he regretted it.
Happy to discuss your train of associations to this case at some other time. However, Dr. Athena supervised it and would probably be a better judge than I. My bias is straightforward and uncompromising. I am always on the side of erotic love because of its power to move life forward. It may lead to happiness and fulfillment. It also leads to wrath and exile from innocence. I do not protect my disciples, as I call them, from consequences of their passion. They must face these as best as they can. Is it prudent for this particular couple to love each other? A non-question in my view. They have no choice. Indeed, I encourage Ferenzi to defy his mentor and marry Elma. It was no concern of mine that it ended his career. Much better for them to have loved each other. Against my advice, he compromised. He failed me. He died a brilliant but unfulfilled man, and the leader whom he had always followed, his adored professor, abandoned him abruptly. After their last devastating meeting, Frenzy could barely stagger away without help. There was intense love there, too. But foolishly, both men destroyed it. I sometimes wonder if the gift of love is wasted on mortals.
Dr. Aphrodite. Thank you. Dr. Athena, you have been closely involved with this case. Would I like to hear your perspective?
Humans imagine themselves to be above nature, as if they were immortals. Law, science, and civilization itself depend on knowing the difference between reality and what they wish were true. Now, Dr. P did not educate himself. Society did that in the forms of various institutions. And now he wants to throw all these gifts away for what? A cuddle? An orgiastic romp? A mutual admiration society? Is he now willing to give up all that he and others achieved and drive for Uber? He aspired to a profession that has been called an impossible one. He was intelligent enough to accept the risks, and much learned ink has been spilled on transference and counter-transference love. Were these not temporary delusions, no matter how seductive, this entire literature would have no meaning. I mean, yours is a profession which tries to cure suffering caused by illusions. But what good is it if the practitioner cannot hold on to reality? So I recommend psychotherapy in a group with other people to bring you back to Earth if need be. Being mortal means having to learn the same lessons over and over and over again. One day it may be too late.
No. No, 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 you can't be here. You're not real.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cast of That Slippery Slope. If we could hear you, we know we'd be hearing a round of applause right now. So we have a few minutes, and what better way than to, get some insight and answer questions by all of you, the audience. What did you think of the original piece? Were there anything that was particularly fascinating about it? Were you rooting for love or logic? Because I know which one I'm rooting for, but I'm not telling any of you. But let's start things off. Just a little bit of a chat. Diana, Miss D. Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I hear somebody.
Oh, I think that was JJ.
Oh, okay.
Diana, quick
Yes.
question for you.
Yes.
What was it like playing a character so different from yourself? So, yeah. What did you think?
It was both scary and freeing. Because sometimes you get to say things that you don't allow yourself to say, and you get to behave in ways that you don't normally allow yourself to behave. But I also had some common ground with her, at least in terms of the stories about her childhood, and I really love the thing about her cat.
Yeah, that was a really interesting piece for me. The fact that she had this loyalty to this animal and didn't want to interrupt his life, even though she wanted more.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of discussed it, and I felt like she didn't have a lot of friends, but she was fiercely loyal to that cat because she felt that cat was her friend.
It's very interesting how we do humanize our animals, our companions, but there is love there too, as Aphrodite would say.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different kind of love, but still love.
Yeah. No, I've got
Isaac.
my miniature poodle downstairs, and I mean, he's more real to me than most of the people I know. So,
well, there's always that. Isaac, how did you feel portraying this professional who is just constantly at odds with himself? I mean, agreeing with the patient and allowing the patient to really run roughshod over you, and then just kind of the mutual attraction that happened, and it changing your entire outlook as the character.
Yeah, it was a very, very different experience, but that's kind of what I love about acting, is getting it kind of I would say it forces you to empathize. And so every time I take on a new character, I like trying to find the human aspects of that person that I can give my color, my version of, and try to make that real and not cartoony, unless it's a farce or something. But so this guy was, it was not difficult to find him when I created the backstory. Before creating the backstory, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with him, other than what the story put out there. So it was just fun. It was a fun little emotional arc, and it was great having someone as talented as Diana to give me that to bounce off for most of the piece.
right back at you.
Yeah, I have to say, I really enjoyed the chemistry that the two of you developed throughout it. It was really interesting seeing from how the read-through started to our evolution through the rehearsal process, and just seeing the different connections that were kind of growing through that. And now with the two characters so well formed, and having you two have such strong personalities, bringing them to life, I thought it was really interesting and really just fantastic watching you developed that process. So hats off to the both of you. Really great job.
Thank you.
Now to our goddesses. And I think I'll start with Lillian. Lillian, my question for you is, well, frankly, this. What did you think of doing this type of character? Obviously, you had originally told me that you were a little surprised that you were cast as Athena, but you played the part very well. Why were you surprised that you were cast as this? And as you went through the process, did you enjoy the challenge of the part?
Yeah, very much. I'm not usually cast as like the this is going to sound really bad. This is not being mean to myself. I'm not usually cast as the intelligent ones. Not that Aphrodite is like stupid or anything, but like I'm usually like, like in the background, like la la la, like kind of thing. So this kind of character was really fun and a bit nerve-wracking to play because like the notes that you gave me, make her a little bit more arrogant and like haughty kind of thing. So it was a really fun challenge for me, not really getting the chance to play these kinds of characters. So it was exciting and refreshing. And I had a lot of fun, like just being very like, I know what's right. You should listen to me, It was very, very empowering.
I definitely wanted to see you challenge yourself because I knew you could do it, which is why
thanks,
I cast you as the
Francis.
part. But honestly, it was really interesting seeing the evolution of your take on her, from doing it as kind of the almost lawyer to being the teacher and being disappointed in everyone not being as smart as you.
Yeah.
Caroline, our goddess of love,
Hello.
Venus herself. Similarly, you almost didn't see yourself as the Aphrodite character, but mostly because of the idea of typecasting. But obviously, I thought that you would be very animated and very powerful. How did you overcome, or at least how did you? What was your approach to doing Aphrodite that was different than, say, if Marilyn Monroe did an incarnation of Aphrodite?
That's a difficult question. I mean, to bounce off of what you said, I told you in the beginning of the rehearsal process how, like, when I first read through the script, I thought, okay, I might be good in this, I might be good at this. There is no way I'm going to get Aphrodite. I do not radiate goddess of love vibe. So when the cast list came out, I was like, whoa, this is interesting. I think the way I approached it, like, we definitely went more of the cartoon like routes, and I think I finally felt free when I realized that the whole point of Aphrodite is that she's very fun. She loves life. She enjoys things. She takes pleasure in things. And I kind of realized, like, whatever choice she makes, I make, Caroline make, it's going to work as long as I'm having fun with it. So I definitely watch a lot of, like, Mae West, Jessica Rabbit, that kind of stuff. I think when I finally like let that come in, I was like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. I think I got this now.
You really compiled quite a lot of character, which most people just kind of like, oh, she's just the goddess of love. She gets to be ditzy. And I didn't see that. I saw that the character should be witty and should be a little conniving and a little bit of a trickster. And you played that up so very lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing your evolution as the character, from not quite being sure to like, I got this, I'm gonna sit back here, I'm gonna do a pose, and everyone's gonna love me for it.
Thank you.
It really was great. And last but not least, in the slightest, Carrie, I gotta say, thank you for putting up with my request to wear a beard.
You're very welcome. It's itchy.
Yes. Will you be burning it afterwards, or is
Yes.
it going in your? Oh, so not in the trophy.
No, I'll put it back in its plastic bed and hide it in my costume closet on the bottom. Invariably, it will scare me. I'm sure at some point I'll be digging through looking for shoes or something and be like, oh my God, what's the... Oh, it's Freud's beard. Okay. As one
Speaking of-
does.
As one does, absolutely. How was it for you? The chairperson was interesting because I always had the vision of the Freud type character, which I think honestly everyone does for therapists in one way or another. Yeah, it's a cliche, but I mean, cliches happen for a reason. What was that like for you, taking on the role of the dogmatic individual? You were like the two gods, but you were almost less of a god and more of a high priest, I kind of thought, for this. I mean, what was your take on the character?
It was a little daunting. I guess I perceived of it as not God or deity, but more kind of the personification of everybody believes in a thing enough, or everybody studies a thing enough, and it kind of takes on a life of its own. So kind of the personification of years and years of dogma kind of being wrapped in a black beard. You know, just kind of a culmination of all of the consciousness that people have and the assumptions that people make about this particular discipline.
Very similar to kind of the idea behind Neil Simon's no, not Neil Simon,
Neil
American
Gaiman.
Gods and
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, very much, very good way to kind of describe the character. Do you think that? Do you think that at least how people view psychoanalysis and therapy, that it spoke true? I mean, not necessarily did you do a good job? I'm not asking that. What I'm saying is, do you think you lived up to people's ideal of that kind of Freud thing?
I tried to take a very specific stab at it. I studied Freud briefly in school. When I did my my early studies in literary analysis, we did psychoanalysis of literature, and my professor, I had one professor in particular who was like, we have to give Freud credit for establishing all this great groundwork, and we wouldn't have therapy as we know it without Freud, but oh my God, look at some of the sheer craziness that he says. You couldn't get away with this today. So my professor treated Freud with this strange mixture of, you know, we really got to give this dude credit, and oh my God, look what this guy's saying. So that weird mix of reverence and, oh my God, really, he's talking again, somebody get him to shut up. So I wanted to try to play to that reading of it, that it was foundational but not sacred, I guess. Which is why I started off with kind of the funny accent that was very Ludwig von Drake, and then no, let's back away from that. But let's also make some snide comments about, he was castrated? Okay, sure. You know, kind of that back and forth between the serious and the woo.
No, I think you pulled that off very nicely.
Thank you.
A good level of serious and, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge humor. I thought that was great.
Thank you.
Honestly, I'm opening this up to pretty much everyone. This being an original piece and the first time it's performed, what did you think of the writing, and what did you think of the process with Dominick, our playwright? Because it's very far and few between that you actually get the input of the playwright during the process. So that's open to anyone.
I found it very refreshing how three-dimensional Ms. Z was, because it could have very easily been a very flat character. Because I mean, she does go through such an emotional roller coaster, even though she's like, she presents herself as somebody so vivacious, but she's got a lot of depth underneath, and she's actually quite intellectual, and she does a lot of reading and a lot of research, and I actually had to do my own a little bit of my own research on classical psychoanalysis, and I have to admit I didn't understand half of it. And a lot of it's not even out there. So I did the best that I could with it. But it's I was very refreshingly surprised at that.
That's great. It really was very well fleshed out. And Dominic, being a psychoanalyst himself, I mean, a great resource to have there. You were going to say something, Isaac?
Yeah, just I was not that I didn't. I mean, I liked the gentleman from the get-go pretty much, but I've been in the situation many times of having the director and the playwright in the same room during rehearsals, the whole bit. And that's usually a really not fun time as an actor, because normally you end up having two directors who don't see things the same. They haven't gotten on the same page yet. Or ideally, you don't want the playwright sitting there with you. Like when I've directed before and directed original works, I've had the playwright with me just initially in the casting, and it's kind of when the rehearsals started to get off their feet, and that was no problem because the playwrights were deferring to me because it was handed over. Now it's the director's baby, and so I was not looking forward to those circumstances coming up with this, and they didn't. The only time that Dominick ever did anything that was anywhere near there wasn't even because of Dominick, it was because of me. It was him giving me a message saying, when I was still having camera problems, not realizing my camera was still on. So, I mean, yeah, he was great. And normally that's not the case. I would say the majority of the time I deal with directors and playwrights in a production, it usually ends up making it not fun for the actors on many occasions.
I do hope that in this company that we make it an easier process overall for people beginning to end. I mean, obviously we're going to have hiccups, but it's refreshing to hear that there is a positive to our way of doing things as opposed to others. Anyone else? Any takers? Anyone? Bueller? No? All right, then we are going to cut the YouTube feed. And I just want to say thank you all so very much for tuning in to our first YouTube broadcast of Abby Normal Productions and the world premiere of That Slippery Slope, written by Dominick Grundy. Tune in next month to watch our Wild West take on William Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, directed by Killarney Traynor, her first directorial